that we have been talking about display the actual list of products or of rows, right? They display the actual data, right? We are displaying a subset of the data. This is filtering, okay? But sometimes this is not what we want. Sometimes instead of wanting to know the products, the summer products, I just want to know how many products in the summer are there, okay? So I don't want to display the actual data. I want some statistics about the data, okay? So how do we do this? Do we have to do an advanced filter and then count the number by hand? No. We have some set of functions called database functions. Database functions work exactly like advanced filters, but instead of displaying the actual data, they give us some information about the data, right? Right. So let me show you a few things. Okay. So this is our data, right? This is the original data that we have. What kind of statistics can we display about this data? We can display something like the sum of quantities, right? So I can go under quantities here and I write equal sum and then select all the quantities, and I have a sum of all the quantities that I have here. I can get the average, right? I can get the average price, or for example, equals average, and then select the price. And I have, this is the average price for all the products. I can get the maximum of my cost. Okay, so equal max, and then select the cost. And I have the total, the maximum cost that I have here. The maximum cost is 220. I can have the total number of of products in my database. So I can say that equal, right, count A, because these are text, and then select all my rows and press enter. And I know that I have 10 products, right? So I can display information about my data using different built-in functions in Excel: count, sum, average, max, mean, and all other functions in Excel, right? I want to do the same thing, but with a criteria. So I want to get the number of products in the summer only, or I want to get the average price of black products, or I want to get the maximum cost of baseball products, okay? So database functions allow me to do these statistical functions: sum, average, maximum, minimum, and so on a subset of the data, okay? I'm going to show you how we write them, and then we will jump into practicing, okay? So we'll do a couple of examples, okay? And then we will be practicing a lot, right? So the first example is, let's find what is the number of products of black products. Okay, what is the number of black products, right? So to do that, we do exactly like we did before, exactly like we did when we were creating advanced filters. So I'm going to copy the names of the columns, paste them here, right? And then under the color, I'm going to write black. Okay. And then instead of doing advanced filter, I'm going to use a function, right? What is the number of black products? Number of means I'm counting. So we will be using the count or count A function, right? Any function in Excel, any built-in functions in Excel used for statistics can be used as a database function by putting the letter D before it, okay? So I will put equal, and then D count A, okay? D count A. So this is the count A function with the letter D before it, which means this is a database function that does exactly what a count A would do. Okay, D count A, and then we open parentheses. The first parameter of the function is our whole data, just like the advanced filter. Okay, just like the advanced filter. So I will go to the data and select all my data like I did in the filter. Everything in my data, okay, and then comma, okay, And then the second parameter is the field I want to count. When you are doing a count function, when you are counting, it doesn't matter which column or which field you select. Okay, so I can select, for example, the product name. Okay, for example. Okay, it doesn't matter because I'm counting. It doesn't matter if I'm counting this column or the next. Okay, and then comma, and then the criteria. The criteria is the criteria we just created, just like the database function. So I will select my criteria and then close the parentheses and then press enter. You will find that I have 3 black products. Okay. So the database function, we use exactly the same criteria that create the criteria in the same way we did in advanced filters. The only difference is that instead of displaying a list of products, it will display some statistics about the product. Okay. It takes 3 parameters. All of them take 3 parameters. The first one is the data itself, the database, which means all our data. And the second parameter is what field I'm trying to count or what field I'm trying to sum up, and then the criteria. Okay. Any questions here, guys, before we do another one?
I have a question, Professor.
Go ahead.
I guess I don't see how it makes sense that for the field we chose product name, but we're actually counting black colors.
Yes, right. So okay, so let's leave along the database function. Talk about functions in general, Excel functions in general. If I tell you I want to know the number of products in this table, what would you do? How would you count the number of products here? What column would you use to count the number of products?
Anyone, I mean, we could use a few, but product name would be one of them.
Yes, anyone, right? Anyone, because the data is the same in all columns. We have the same number of rows in all columns, right? Sport, we have the 10 rows, product ID 10 rows, product name 10 rows, and so on. So when you are counting, only when you are counting, it doesn't matter which column you are using, right?
Gotcha.
So this is why I use the product name. I could have easily used the color. I could have easily used the quantity. It doesn't, when you are counting, it doesn't matter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. The second example I'm going to show you now, this is where it matters. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to, what is the average price of products with a cost between $10 and $100, right? So we'll try to do this one together as well. What is the average price of products with a cost between $10 and $100, right? So here we are looking for the average, right? And we have a criteria, we have a condition here that we don't want the average of all products. We just want the average of product whose cost or with cost between $10 and $100. So how do we do this? Again, copy the names here of the columns, paste them right there, right? And under the cost, I will put greater than 10. And I will copy the cost like we did before because they are ended together. And put less than 100. Okay. And then I'm going to apply, we want the average. If you want the average, then we have a D average in Excel. So equals D average. And always the first parameter is the whole data. So I will select my data, comma. The second is the field that I am getting the average of. I want the average of price, right? The question is about the average of price. Okay, what is the average price? So I need to select the field called price here. So when I'm doing the average, I will select the column name, just the column name called price, and then comma, and then select my criteria. Okay, and this is the average price. Okay, again, I will do it one more time just to make sure you understand the parameters because it's very important. The first parameter is my data, including the names of the columns. You have to include the column names here, right? So I will select everything, including the column names, followed by a comma. And then the field I am applying the statistics to. I want the average of the price average. So I will click the name, just the name of the column price, only the name, right? And then comma. And then I will select my criteria. Close the parentheses, and that's it. Okay.
So, Professor, you chose price for the parameters, but you have cost for the criteria down here. So, does it not matter where you have the greater than or less than on this lower bar, as long as you choose the correct column up top?
This is a great question, Dylan. This is a very good question. You are absolutely right. You need to separate between the criteria and the column we are applying the statistics to. In the parameter, I use the column we are applying the statistics to, right? I wanted the average of price. This is why I used price in the parameter. It's completely independent of what I put in the criteria here. Okay?
Gotcha.
This is one, guys. This is a great question, and this is one of the areas where some get confused on exams. When the question is asking about the average price, okay, the average price. So when I am choosing the field in the database function, I use the price column. The conditions in the criteria has nothing to do with anything. They have nothing to do with the parameters of the database function. Okay. So there are multiple database functions we can think of. So maximum, we have maximum, we have d maximum, right? We have minimum, we have d minimum. We have standard deviation, we have d standard deviation. Okay, we have count, we have d count. We have count A, we have d count A, okay, and so on and so forth. There is only one function that exists only as a database function. This function is called dget. Okay, dget. Dget is used to display a specific value of your data, not to display a specific value of your data. So, for example, if I want to get the if I want to get the price of a certain product, let's say I want to get the price of, let's pick an easy product. I want to get the price of this product, MAOB MID Gore. Okay, so I will copy this value. Okay, before that I need to copy to create my criteria, right? So to use the dget, I will select my criteria like I do always, copy, and then paste. Okay. And then let's select an easy product. So let's select this stealth product. Copy. I will put it under product name. Okay. Now I want the price for this product. Okay. So I will use the dget function equals dget. Same parameters, the database. So I will select my database, comma, the field. I want the price of this product. Okay. I want the price. So I'm going to click on the price, comma, and then I'm going to select my criteria. Okay. This will give me the price of this specific product, right? So dget is the only unique function. It's not, there is nothing similar to it in the normal Excel functions. The dget is used to get a value associated with another value, right? So if I want to get the price of this product name, I use the dget. If I want to get its cost, its quantity, I use dget as well. Okay. Any questions before we start some practice today? And we'll continue on Tuesday as well, because this is a very important concept. Okay. Right. So the error that I see most of the time on exam is some of you get confused between an advanced filter and database function. So on the exam, I may ask you, I want the number of products that start with the letter A, for example. Some of you will do and will not use a dcount function. They are going to use an advanced filter and display the list of products starting with an A. Okay, this is not what I want. What I want is the number, not the actual products. So make sure you understand the question and know what function to use there. On our first exam, I'm going to give you the names of the functions to use. Just on the first exam, you can use the functions I provide. But after this, in the other exams, you have to figure out the functions yourselves. Okay. So let's do some practice. So if you go to the queries sheet, the next sheet to the products, this queries sheet, you will find a list of queries that you should do using functions, right? We have 3 of them right there, right? So what I want you to do, guys, is to try and solve them yourself. So let's have 10 minutes to go through these 3 examples, and then we will do them together. Okay, so go ahead and try to complete these 3 questions, please. If you have a problem while working, let me know, and I will be more than happy to get you to show your screen and help you solve the problem. Again, on the first 2 exams in this course, I expect to see 5 or 6 questions about database functions and maybe filters. Okay, so expect that on the exams. And this tells you how important the concept of database functions and advanced filters are. Okay, they are really important. So be careful when you are working. This is why I have multiple assignments and multiple practices in this area. And if you go work in any area where you are going to use databases, this is going to be very handy. We'll do them together, Dillion, in a few minutes. So we'll wait 2 minutes and then we will work through the answers. Okay. Right. So let's start working on this question, right? So the first question is, what is the total number of product quantity made by Reebok or Wilson that cost customer at least 70, right? First step, before I even read the question, this is obviously a database function asking about a number of something with some criteria. Then I copy the column names, right? So I will go here, copy the column names. I prefer to copy the column names from the data. Okay. So copy. I will go to the query sheet and paste it somewhere. Paste. Okay. Let me make this bigger. Right. And then we will start entering our information. Now, made by Reebok or Wilson. Okay. So I think this is in the product, in the brand. So in the brand, we will insert Reebok. Below it, we will insert Wilson. Okay, they are all together, made by Reebok or Wilson. So I put them below each other, as you can see here. And cost the customer at least 70. At least means 70 or more. So in the price, I will say greater than or equal 70. Okay. I didn't put it in cost because it says cost the customers, right? So this is the price we are selling this at. Okay. So greater than or equal 70. And then I want the number of products quantity, right? So the question is not clear. Does it want us to count the product quantities or the sum of the product quantities? So I will do it both ways. Okay. So equals dcount A. It doesn't matter, right? And then the database will contain all my data, including the column names, comma. And then the field, I can, if I'm counting, I can use any field again, but let's use the quantity, comma. And then I'm going to go to the queries and select my criteria. I made a mistake here. What mistake did I make here, guys? There is a mistake that I made here. Can anyone tell me what mistake I made in this criteria?
You didn't put the price on Wilson, underneath Wilson?
Exactly right. So remember, I said when we do OR, we have to put the ANDed part on both lines. So it needs to have greater than or equal 70 here as well. Okay. Right. And then again, not advanced. We insert the dcount A. Okay. All right. Okay. And the database, select all our data, comma, and then the field, we select quantity, comma, and then go to queries and select my criteria, and then close the parentheses, and that's it. So we have 3 of these products. If I want to know the total sum of quantity, so the whole quantity, how many are the whole quantity, is the whole quantity. So this is the count. Okay, I can use the sum. Right, so equal the sum. Again, I will select all my database and the field quantity. I'm summing up the quantity, comma. I select my criteria. And the total quantities that I have is 171. In the exam, if the question is this ambiguous, either way you'll get your mark. It's not really it's not your problem, so you don't pay for it, right? The second question is, what is the average sales price of shoes, boots, or gloves that cost customers between 40 and 100? Now this is interesting. Okay, so again, I will copy the column names, right? And we start with the or condition. So shoes, boots, or gloves. Okay, so let me, before you write the condition, make sure, look at your data and make sure this is how they are wrote in your data. This is how they are written in your data. So we'll go here. Okay, we have boots, shoes, gloves. Right. Shoes, boots, gloves. Okay. And we are done with the or. Now they say the cost is between 40 and 100. So I will need another version of the cost the customer. So the price, sorry, copy and paste, greater than 40 and less than 100. Here as well, greater than 40 and less than 100, greater than 40 and less than 100, right? Another thing, this question, some of you may be confused and use the cost instead of price. Again, you get your full mark, right? If the question is confusing, then I will not penalize you for that. Don't worry. Right? Now we want the average sales price, so equals the average, right? All our data, including the column names, comma. The fields, we need the average sale price. So the average sales price is right here in the price, comma, and then our criteria. I selected all the lines with criteria, right? And then we close our parentheses and press enter. And this is our average sales price. Okay. Any questions about this question, guys? Any issues, any problems? Okay.
Can you redo it one more time, please?
Of course. Are you okay with the criteria, or do you want to do the criteria again as well?
I'm okay with the criteria.
Okay. So we want the average sales price. So I will use the average function. Okay. The first parameter is our data. So I will select all my data, including column names, comma. And then I want the average sales price. So the sales price is the price here. This is the sales price. So I click the name of the column price, just the name of the column, and then comma. And then go to my criteria in the queries sheet, select all my criteria up till the gloves like at the bottom. Okay, and that's it.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, last one. How many products are sold in summer and fall seasons whose product color is black or white? Okay, now this is a tricky one because it says sold in summer and fall, right? Right. Okay, so there is no way to say summer and fall in the same it doesn't, there is no way on earth that you are going to get summer and fall here, right? There is no way on earth, because it's either fall or summer, right? So 100% this means an or, even though the question has an and there. If I put an and, I will get 0, I will get nothing, right? So the question is asking about for fall or summer, right? So again, what I will do is I'm going to copy the column names. Paste it here. Okay. And now the tricky part, right? Summer and fall season. So in the season, we'll have to insert summer and then fall, right? The trick part is the other condition, the color is black or white. So they are also ORed together, right? So this will make things hard for us to do, right? So what we will do is, in the color, we will put black and black again, and then we will copy this summer, fall, and we will put white and white. Okay, so we have all the combinations between summer, fall, and black and white. Summer, fall, black, and summer, fall, white. Okay, so this is why this is a little bit complex criteria. You will not see something like that on the exam, never, and even in real life this is very rarely used, but just I want to see how much you understand the concept, right? So summer and fall, there is no such thing as summer and fall. This is why I used an or, and black and white. Okay. So again, we are going to do the dCountA function. Okay, and then select all our data. And then when you are only in the count function, you can select any column name only in the count. And any other functions, you need to select a specific field, but here you can select any field. So I'll select the product name. And then the criteria, I'm going to select this whole criteria, close the parenthesis, and we